First of all, we're gonna create a new game object, create empty. We're gonna rename it to manager. This will be containing all of our files. That means all of our main files which will be communicating with each other and controlling the keyboard inputs throughout the game. That means this manager will not be destroyed anytime. So from level 1 it will be loaded onto level how much ever it goes. So we're gonna attach the menu script over here, and you can see a whole lot of game objects have come up. I'm gonna just move it right over here. So first of all we need the we're gonna lock this, as you can see, because we don't want to remove it every time. We don't want to deselect it every time we click on something else. So keyboard and mouse, it goes into the no, this controls UI, go into here, control menu, and this the keyboard and mouse menu go here. Keyboard control scheme 1, scheme 2, scheme 3. Yeah, and as you can see, we're gonna put in the control scheme 3 into the 3 slot. Yeah, so now we're gonna play the game and see if the menu shows up. So it's deactivated, back, and it shows up. Right now these buttons don't do anything, so we're gonna make this do something in a little while. First, let's just subscribe to the, let's just deselect it. Controls UI, okay, keyboard and mouse. Apply button is not set, the next panel is there, so we're going to on click manager, menu script. I'm going to open CS1. That's done. Control scheme 1, next panel, list 1. This is gonna be list 1. Yeah, this next panel we're gonna drag in the manager, go to menu script, next panel we're gonna open CS2, back panel, on click, drag in manager, we're gonna open back to keyboard and mouse. Okay, this is done. We're gonna go back, deactivate this, and then we're gonna go to next panel, put another one, this menu script, CS3, back panel, manager, menu script, back to CS1, not open, this is not gonna be open yet. This is gonna be menu script, back to CS1. Okay, and then we're gonna close this, and then we're gonna open the CS3. Next panel, we do not need CS3. CS3 doesn't need a next panel. The back panel it does need. So we're going to do on click, manager, and the menu script, back to CS2. Yeah, back to CS2. And yeah, I just noted something that, so if we're gonna test it out right now, we don't know how we are gonna see in which place that we are in. We don't know in which menu we are in right now. We're just gonna name this CS3. CS3, go back to 2D mode, select it, bring it up over here, bring it up right over. Just gonna put it right at the top. Reduce the fonts, reduce the max size here, right over here, CS not hash, CS3, and we're gonna copy this, I'm gonna paste it to all of them. Again back to Control V. This goes over here. CS2 right position. Yeah. This comes active. Paste it. Bring it in. CS1. And for the keyboard and mouse, it looks like a keyboard and mouse menu, so we do not need to say right now. So we're just gonna leave it like this, save it, deactivate the controls UI, and we're gonna give it a test. Yeah, so I'm gonna press the escape button. This shows up. Next, control scheme 1. Next, control scheme 2. Next, control scheme 3. Control scheme 2, control scheme 1, control schemes keyboard 2, 1, keyboard mouse. That works perfectly. So now we're gonna make a controller script. A controller script will be the script which will control the cube. So we're gonna write controller underscore. Let's not just write controller, we'll write player controller underscore script. This is gonna be a player controller script. So we do not need this right now. We'll bring it in when we so need it. So first of all, we are gonna define speed. That's gonna be public float move speed. It's gonna be 3f, and after that we're gonna do an update. So void update, yeah, and void update, and we're gonna leave it this much for now on. For now, so because it's of no use actually testing out the movement script without the controls script being written, so we're gonna go to the control scripts, create a C# script, and where is it? It's gonna be named control manager. So this is the longest script that you're gonna get in this tutorial, because it is the control manager and it is in the control tutorial, and it is the control manager. Okay, fine. I said control manager too many times, I think. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna delete this. So just hold on a second. I'm gonna take a drink of water. Yeah. So I'm back, and public static control manager instance. I'm not gonna set this certificate. I think we do not need it right now. I'm gonna say private all input keys. So this is our list for all the keyboard keys and the joystick keys. And so we're gonna write a function void on enable. This is gonna be run after the awake function. I'm gonna write set initial references. So this is a custom function that I'm defining right now. This function will contain it'll just get the all input keys, and it's gonna assign the all input keys. So we're gonna do void set initial ref and references all input keys equals to get component all input keys. So this script is gonna be accessed directly by this script by the way of get component, because okay, it's not responding. Okay, there was a problem. Start back up. Yeah, and so this script is gonna be attached to the manager. What I told you in the beginning, all the main scripts go into the manager. So yeah, this is just a warning. So if you want to get rid of that warning, you have to just do if all input keys is not equal to null, then you do this. This will get rid of that warning over here. I don't know, something it's about, it just references it before or something happens and this error pops up. God knows the expert in C#. Okay, so let's start with the other keys. Let's start defining variables. Okay, first we need quite a number of variables. We need public bool is waiting for input. So this will check if we are actually waiting for input or not. Event key event, this will capture the key on GUI. This will be run in GUI. This will capture the key, and then this will the key will be then assigned to that variable. Public bool is joystick input detected, and public bool is keyboard input detected. Is keyboard input detected. Before we continue on further, we are going to go to the save manager. This is the save state file, and this save state file will contain all of our all of our values for contains all of our basic values for which define our controls. So let's just type it out before we continue any further. Here, comment it out. This is gonna be default keys. All of these values are gonna be in string format. Public string forward underscore default equals to w, and all the variables in this file have to be public because they are going to be accessed by another script and be overwritten by another script. Backward public string left underscore default gonna be a. I'm gonna just define the WASD format. Public string right default equals to d, and public string action default equals to not small letter e, and then now we're going to write the keys which are going to be reconfigurable, that means rebindable. So I just want to write it as reconfigurable keys. Okay, so let's actually the same thing, just copy paste for keyboard and mouse. So forward backward left right and action. Now we're gonna write the controller keys. Yeah, I'm gonna name it Xbone. I'm using the Xbox One controller, that's why I'm naming it Xbone keys. Whichever controller you're using and you want to configure it for, you can use to that controller. I'm gonna be attaching a diagram later on, and so it's gonna be public string action G. Name it joystick button 2. Just a second, I'll type it out and then I'll explain to you what is joystick button 2, left joystick Y, and all that stuff. Public string forward underscore backward underscore G equals to left joystick Y. You won't find these in the input manager in Unity right now. We are going to be using the input manager, but we are going to be using it in our own way. So let's just type it out. Right left, oh yeah, just missed that, string right left. I was wondering why the squiggly line. So right left equals to left joystick X. What is squiggly line? G does not exist in the current context. Okay, Yeah, so these are the keys that I needed right now. So I'm gonna save this file. And okay, so this is from the Jimmy Vegas tutorial. Just zoom in a little. Okay, so see, according to the Xbox controller, so we were in, okay, so we were not here. Yeah, joystick button 2. So joystick button 2 over here will be joystick button 2 is the X. The X key is the joystick button 2. The forward backward is left joystick Y, which I'm gonna, it's gonna, that's a custom key that we are gonna put it in Unity. So this is gonna be up and down Y, and this is gonna be the X axis. It's according to the Microsoft document for Xbox One controllers, not Xbox One, Xbox 360 controller. The documentation, I think a wiki is there, and these are for the keys, and this is the buttons, and see, and below is the PS4 controller. So I don't own a PS4 controller, so I've never tried all these controls in a PS4 controller. If you do and you have a success, please leave a comment and share the code if you can. It's better to take and give back to the society so that all of the people can actually learn game development and not be stuck by this. So you can make your own input manager. As I was saying about this forward and left joystick X and left joystick Y, we will be defining it later on, but first let's go on to the control manager. So in the control manager, so in the control manager we have set the initial references, and now we are gonna write the button text keys. So the text that will be accessing during the time of the buttons on click, so that we can actually change it during runtime. And so this is the way I do it. You might find some easier ways, which may be like making a prefab, then finding the value and all of that stuff. I find this much easier, but this is a lot more hard work and it's repetitive. And now we're going to create a header and we're going to give it a heading of button texts. So what a header basically does is it header basically, oh, we are referring. So in order to use the text, we need to go over here and use Unity engine.ui. So so the header makes like a column, a separate group for the things that are under it. So we're gonna go forward text, just like copy this, and I'm gonna paste it 4 more times. 1 2 dumb of me now. 1 2 5, and this is gonna be enough. Forward, backward, action, and then left and right. So we're gonna create another header. So okay, before I do that, I'm gonna show you what these headers actually do. I'm gonna go back into Unity, go back to Manager, and so we got these which are refreshed, and it's just gonna come back. Yeah, see, the header component of the Unity, it's a built-in code, and the header thing, in the editor it shows it as this, so all the texts are grouped together under this. Yeah, you can do that. And so we're going to create another header. We're going to create header keyboard. Oh man, yeah, keyboard and mouse input. So public, these are going to be in key code formats. So the input is going to be stored as key codes, not as strings, because when you press a key, the Unity receives it as a key code, which is the command for that specific key. And so we're gonna be converting it into string for saving it, all of the stuff. So key code backward public key code action public key code left public key code right. And we are going to need another header. This header is for the Xbox input. Not the X. I'm just going to say it as a generic, controller input, but I'm going to write over here Xbox input. From here we need a public string, and we're going to group them together in this forward underscore backward underscore G, because in a controller, in one axis there's up and down, so the controller sends you get a value back in -1 or 1. You get it as 0 or 1. It's more like in the center. Suppose for the thumbstick, when the thumbstick is resting, you get a value of around 0, because it's never resting in the right place, because nothing is so perfect. That's why you need to remove the dead zone and all this stuff. You have to give a control for you need to give a menu for removing the dead zone. So when you push it upwards, then you get a value of -1, and when you bring it downwards, then you get a value of +1. So you go from 0 to negative and from 0 to positive. So that's how the gamepads work. And for the last one, we're gonna need a key. So the Xbox controls are gonna be in buttons as well as axis, because the input system does not take in axis as an argument. Like if you cannot compare it, that is why we are gonna use a keyboard. We are gonna use a key code also, and it is. So this is set initial references, and yeah, here. And let's start with start. We need a start function, and the start functions we're gonna do is waiting for input equals to false, because on this, as the game starts, we do not want it to be waiting for an input. That's what only we have start when we press the button to actually put in the input. And is waiting, is joystick input detected? No, it's going to be false at the beginning. And is keyboard input detected? for no, this is gonna be true because we're gonna start out with the keyboard. As soon as a key in the controller is pressed, it's gonna switch over to the joystick. So there's hardly any delay because the functions are gonna run in. It's gonna run in the update function. All these and the other member functions are gonna run in the update. The sub functions, I don't know what it's called, gonna run the update. So every frame, so one frame is not that long. Okay, so here it is. Okay, now this is the long one, so we're gonna just comment it. It's easier to find it. It's better to comment your code as you go along, because suppose later on another person is gonna be reading a code, he will not know what something does or what something does not do. He'll get confused. It's easier to comment your code so that he has an idea of what you are trying to express, because every programmer's mind is different and every programmer reaches a solution in his own way to the various key codes. So this is a function. We're gonna be public void a assign keys. This function is gonna assign the keys. That means it's gonna take in the keys from the save state, right? That means from here it's gonna convert them into key codes and accesses or whatever, and it's gonna assign them to the variables over here, which are then gonna be accessed by the controller script so that it gets an input way. Okay, so let's just go forward equals to, so this is a function, this is, I don't know what's it called, this is a way to convert something to to convert a string to a key code. This is the way, because there's no, I don't know if there's any other way to convert something to a key code. Pass type of key code, comma, and then we're gonna get it from the save state. So save manager dot instance dot state, that is the state. If you read the code in the save manager, you might understand it, or better yet, just follow the tutorial from NCK EN. The link is gonna be in the description, and and that will explain it to you in detail how this script is created. So state dot forward. So I'm just gonna copy this. I'm gonna make this backward. I'm gonna make this backward. Left. So you notice that I'm doing it capitals and small letters. This is, I don't know, this is a norm kind of stuff, and this helps in differentiating this, like, so for every variables it starts with a small letter, and for every function it starts with a capital letter, and this I give it a capital letter, so it's separated from that of the variables in here. So here it is, right, 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 and then we have right, left, and action. We got action, action. There's no key to. Oh, there's a key to. Completely forward. I'm using a small keyboard of mine. It doesn't have all those N keys and the number pad. So I completely forward. There's a home key for bringing it to the forward thing. So action. Yeah, so these are for keyboard and mouse and joystick. Just write it joystick. We forward backward G equals to save manager dot instance dot state dot forward backward G. This is gonna be a string because we're gonna define it in Unity's. We're gonna set it in Unity's default that input, which you can find in the project settings. So forward, then left right G to save manager instance dot state dot left right left G, then action dot G equals to key code. It's gonna be the same thing as this, but we're gonna change it into a key code as because that is yeah, because this is a key and it's a button. Okay, now we need to write another function that is gonna be void update UI. This function updates the UI after new values are set. Before we go on to there, we're just gonna go here and you can see all this text, so we're gonna just set them up. I'm gonna go into keyboard and mouse, the forward text goes into text, and backward text goes into text, left text goes into not here, left text, right text goes into right text, and action goes into action text. Yeah, so these will update. Okay, and all these are gonna be set to the code, so don't worry about these right now. So in the update UI for going to forward text dot text, we're gonna convert it to a text equals to forward dot toString. Now you notice what we're doing, we converted it into a key code over here, so this is a key code. So we're going to use the toString function to convert it back to a string, which is going to be shown in the UI. Text dot backward dot toString left text left text string text node text equals to string text dot text equals to action dot toString So on calling this function, it'll update the UI all at once. Yeah, let's close this up. Now we're gonna write another function that's gonna be void on GUI. This is also a built-in function. I think so. Yeah, I think it is. This function runs every frame for every UI element. So this functions is going to be three functions or four functions which are actually going to take in the key and save it and push it onto here, which will be taken in by the player controller script. So this functions or these functions, get my grammar wrong, takes in the key and assigns it to the key code new key. Oh yeah, I forgot to make the key code new key. I think I forgot to give it out. Oh yeah, I did forget. So private key code new key. I think this is gonna be temporarily saving the variable for us, the input, which is gonna be taken by the UI on button click. So key event, and event is something that runs well every time for every event, for every click, for every something, it's gonna run every time. So event dot current, so it takes in the value, so which button is correct. If key event is not equal to null, then if key event dot is key, if this key event is a keyboard event, then and is waiting for input equal to true. We're gonna come, don't worry about this when this is gonna be like the next or the third function from now on. I'm just writing it in order which I like. So new key equals to key event dot key code, and is waiting for input equals to false, and cursor dot lock state equals this is not needed, but I just give it for my own sake. It looks better. So when you click on a button which takes in the input, the cursor vanishes, and that looks cooler, better than having a cursor all that on all the time. Okay, so here's true, and I think this is a really long tutorial, right? Since I'm kind of a slow typer and I gotta do it all at the same time, gotta do it. So I minimize that. Now go public void start assignment string key name. So what this is gonna be, actually this is gonna be called in by the button, and when this will run, this is a this is where this will run. It'll call in a coroutine which will run and call in all other stuff. So If not, is waiting for input. So if we are waiting for an input, then start coroutine uh, assign key. Don't write the assign keys because we are going to be defining our coroutine in just a second. Assign not keys, assign key. We're going to be creating like a nested coroutine. So it's going to be wait for key. So while not key event dot is key. So what this will basically do is, until the key event that is taken in is not a key, it will not let the code run. That means the next piece of code is not going to let it run until it detects that it is a key and not something else, some random stuff that you touched or you did a mouse drag or something. If you want to check it out, you can just do debug log and check the key events. You see that everything is monitored. Yeah, so after this, so now this is the main uh, the assign key enumerator. This is the coroutine. So it's going to be public enumerator assign key. I'm going to take in a value which is a string, key name. So I'll check is. So this will make the value true, so that on GUI will check it on later. So this will be called as soon as this is there. See, the button will click, this will be called, and this will be called. So as soon as the button is clicked, this will be called and this will set it to true, so that the GUI knows that we are waiting for an input. And yield, since it's a coroutine, we need to return something. Return wait for key. So it's waiting for key. The further one, so the switch cases later on won't be run until and unless it is at this wait for the while loop is satisfied. So switch key name case forward. We're gonna see in a second how this case forward is gonna be taken in. Not in a second, after I write the script actually. I'm just gonna finish the script and I'll show you how it's done. Forward equals to new. Since if I do not write this once, let me just show you if it's not an error. I can show you from where it's gonna be taken, the script. So keyboard and mouse. So over here, drag in the manager and click control manager, not assign keys, start assignment, and see there's a string over here now. You can see a string. This string will actually, you have to write it down forward. So, and this is written forward, it's gonna be passed in over here, the thing I wrote before. You can see forward. So it's gonna be passed over here, which will be passed over here, which will come over here. So forward. Let's just do all of them since we are here already. Forward. Backward. Left. Right. Action. So let's go and then just go in and write down the switch statements. So forward text dot text equals to forward dot to string. It's updating right now, and then we're gonna save the value. So save manager dot instance dot for state dot forward equals to forward dot to string. We're gonna break out of this loop. And the second case is case we have to write it exactly what we wrote in the string, okay? Because if we do not write it exact, we are gonna get errors. So backward equals to new key, backward text dot text equals to backward dot to string, save manager dot instance dot state dot backward dot to string, break. So since this is getting a bit long, I'm just gonna copy it. Backward, after backward we had, which one did we have? Backward, then left. LFT, left, LFT, 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 left. And we have the right, right, then right, 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 right. Then the last one we have action, action, action. I told you this is a little bit, it's tedious, but this is what it takes. If you can improve the code, please do improve the code. It's better if you do improve the code or reduce some performance issues, if this has some, I do not know, I did not test it out in that sense. Gonna do yield. We don't have to do this, but we're gonna do this in any case. Yeah, so this will take in the key. Okay, let's just finish the whole script. After this, we're gonna write this function will save the whole save, which retains the user prefs. Public void apply control keys. So save manager dot instance dot save. And now the code is done, but there is something that I like to do. The code is not done, but we have finished with the keyboard part, but this is just something that I like to do. This function controls the blink text. Okay, so public void blink, it takes in a value of text txt cursor dot log state equals to the lot move dot log. Just make sure that this happens, so there's like two security measures that you can see. False, start coroutine blink. This coroutine is gonna take in a value of text. Okay, right now it can't find the coroutine, so we're gonna write it down on numerator blink text txt. It's not that important. Write a for int I equals to 0, I is less than 100. Let's put in 9999. How much can the player wait till he has to enter input? So if is waiting for input equals to true, that means we are waiting for an input, then this blink will be done. This blink will happen. So yield return new, wait for seconds, 0.5f. This is the number that I like. So txt dot text equals to just an underscore, and then again yield return new wait for seconds 0.5f, that means 0.5 seconds. Txt dot text equals to, we're going to give a blank string. After that we're going to do else txt dot text equals to new key dot to string. That means whatever is a key will get inserted into the string, and then we're gonna break out of this loop. So we're gonna break out of this 9999 stuff which keeps on going on forever. So after this we're gonna do, let's just name it blink1. Blink, just make it small. It's clashing with this blink, that's why it was not having. So we're going to public void load defaults. This is for the keyboard inputs, the default key which may and assigns the default values. So assigns the default values for forward equals to also key code system dot enum dot parse type of key code, comma, from where, from save manager dot instance dot forward dot state dot forward default. We're gonna close it up. So we're gonna do a few more of these. 3, 4, 5. So forward we goes to backward we go to action, go to left, to right, backward default, action default, left default, right default. And then after this is run, so you do know how the code gets run. No, it gets run from the top to bottom, it does not start from somewhere from here. After this is run, we're gonna do update UI, and the update UI is gonna call this function which I wrote before. It's gonna assign these values, it's gonna update it in the GUI, so it looks fresh as ever. And after that we're gonna do overwrite values in CF. So what is gonna happen in here is these values are gonna get modified at any time, so you do not know which values are gonna remain at this. These default keys, these keys are gonna be assigned to here. So that means we're gonna copy this value and we're gonna paste it in this value position. So basically we're gonna do save manager dot instance dot state dot forward equals to save manager dot instance dot state dot forward default. This is what's gonna happen for 5. Action left action default left default. Do be careful that you do not mess it up over here. So this is gonna get reloaded, written, and now we are gonna move on to the joystick programming part, the rebindable key.